Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back.
Hey, guys, what's up?
You never left, but we did. As you can see, we are fresh-eyed and bushy-tailed. Is that what that phrase is?
No. Fresh-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Fresh-eyed,
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. We're one of those things. I'm sure our eyes are also.
It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Why are you like this right now?
It is. It's 3 Oh God, guys, we're
is your
a total mess. But you have your coffee.
We've done this before.
I have my water. All right, so let's talk about the show. Season 2, episode 1 is named Broken. This is the first time that we are encountering a character backstory of no one. Haha. We're just coming off of the tail end. We're coming off the tail end of the curse being broken, hence the reference of the title of the show. So we don't have flashbacks, which is possible. No, we do have flashbacks. But we're not doing a backstory from someone in Storybrooke, is from what I understand.
Okay.
So we have Enchanted Forest scenes, but they are not showing us exposition from characters that we've met already. We're going to meet new people. It's because basically now that the curse is broken, we're going to basically catch up with where the Enchanted Forest is now. Essentially. Because as we saw...
right. Because it didn't just blow up. They just all got moved. So
yeah, when the curse broke, and to some people's points, when the curse broke, Storybrooke didn't just cease to exist. They were all remembering all of their Enchanted Forest lives here. So we'll get into it when you see the show, and it'll make a little bit more sense.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe the curse is broken.
I know, and the fact that, and Jonathan was right, they really could have taken the entire show to just be like, this is what it would be like if these people were trapped here forever, and they would.
And that's what you would think if you were starting a show fresh-eyed.
So the fact that they just ended the show right away, that to me, that's a strong writing. I mean, A Good Place, I don't want to spoil A Good Place because I feel like people should still watch it. But they essentially do what they would have done with the entire show in a very, very short amount of time. And then the show gets to grow in so many more places because they don't take 4 seasons to get to the resolution you think should happen in season 1. Exactly like this.
That's true. So I don't think that's a spoiler. It's literally like Eleanor figuring out that she is not supposed to be there. So you think the whole time she's just going to be hiding out in the good place.
Yeah. And the idea of that misdirection of you would think that something like that should take the entire stretch of the show, and then then
you find out that show's not even what that's about.
Exactly. It's
so
about the
crazy
misdirection of leading you in this way to kind of feel comfortable and settled in,
right?
And then to
because
just
now,
break that for you.
In Once Upon a Time, we have no idea what's going to happen now. That was Endgame. Breaking the curse was it. No, Henry had no plan after that. He was just strictly there for the vibes of the curse breaking. He now has to deal with the aftermath of his mom is actually the evil queen.
Yeah.
He's believed that in his heart the whole time, but to now have to actually face that reality for this little poor boy, what is he going to do? And he knows that everyone's going to remember that they hate her. They hated her in Storybrooke, but real issues, there's some meat on that.
Yeah, she killed people.
They have beef.
They have real beef, yeah. So the episode aired September 30th, 2012.
Oh my God, it's like Jonathan said.
The season finale was May 13th, so they took 20 weeks off, which is wild.
I could never survive this cliffhanger.
Yeah,
yes, I could. I handled waiting after Derek Shepherd died. I could do this.
Yeah, and you do other things over the summer. There are short shows that pop up in between and whatever. And I remember when the new fall shows were happening, renewed shows were coming back.
There is nothing
September?
like a good ABC CW fall season premiere.
And they're
that's my Super Bowl.
Yeah, me too. They're really prepping you for a full season's worth of anticipation in those first, and all of the marketing campaigns that come out to get you back into it's an exciting time in the days of streaming now. It's a little bit,
and it's almost getting to that point in real life right now.
That's true. It's
you know what I mean? August starts this weekend,
so we're gonna start ramping up marketing essentially soon.
I wonder what studios is going to look like, because you know how they always change out the posters, the billboards in Hollywood studios near ABC Commissionary.
Yep. It was cool. Right now it's like Luca and stuff. And that's interesting too. Yeah. And I wonder,
they had a Once Upon a Time poster up there for a super long time. I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
With the apple
like
and oh my gosh.
It was Regina and Emma and the big, I totally remember that. So this episode is directed by Ralph Hemmicker. We recognized that name before. He directed 7:15 a.m. and Hat Trick. Both very good episodes. Shut up. My stupid computer keeps yelling at me. So 7:15 a.m. and Hat Trick. 11.36 million people. 11.36 is huge. I mean, they haven't had numbers like that since like the third episode-ish of the season 1 premiere. So
they crushed that finale though. Like,
yeah. And imagine that finale and then like everybody coming back to find out what happened. Like, people were excited, clearly.
We're excited and we did this last week. Like,
literally, yeah. We didn't wait 20 weeks. So I have some spoilers. It does not stay that way. And I really want to revel in this glorious moment or a few moments, because we have a couple weeks left, of really, really great ratings. I don't know if anybody remembers what was going on. This show was not widely received very well. It wore on people very quickly. We all love it, we as fans, but it's kind of why I
don't think ratings are fair, though.
I don't either. I don't think it's an accurate representation of whether it's good.
I'm sorry that I was not available at Sunday night at 8:00 at night. I still will watch the show. Please count my number.
Count me in. Yeah, no, I agree. It's not 11.36
And look at all these. We have
it.
2 people that I can think off the top of my head right now that listen to our show and have called in and told us and wrote in and told us they found Once Upon a Time over quarantine. Yeah. Why can we not account for this? Like, the people that are logging onto Disney Plus or Netflix and watching this show and getting really into it.
I agree 100%.
So when the numbers drop off drastically, which they do, it's almost in half of what this premiere number is. And that's really sad. I don't think that's fair. It's not a good representation of the show.
It's not 11.36 million people liked it. It's 11.36 million people happen to be in that place and time, but that doesn't reflect.
The losers that had no life on a Sunday night.
Oh man, yeah. If you're one of those people, we're sorry, but it's the truth. All right, so let's talk about this episode synopsis. So we're Curse is broken, right? I'm just adjusting my mic real quick. Reality and myth begin to merge as the fairy tale characters awaken from evil Queen Regina's broken curse and remember who they are. But to their dismay, they aren't transported back to fairy tale land. To make matters worse, Rumpelstiltskin, aka Mr. Gold, in an effort to gain the upper hand in his power struggle with Regina, has introduced magic into the town. That's just Storybrooke. So in the fairy tale land, it says in fairy tales, in fairy tales, magic has its place, but in our world, it can be wildly unpredictable. Which is actually a really interesting point, that it's not just that magic is here, it's unstable because it doesn't belong here. So it's not just magic, but it's kind of unpredictable magic. In the fairy tale land, this is great. Some new characters here. Prince Philip awakens his sleeping beauty Aurora, but discovers that he and his traveling companion Mulan, will soon have to face... I forgot
about this crossover.
Will soon have to face a deadly foe. We were like, what the hell? Like, okay, now they really started taking some liberties here, right? So we don't have to.
Oh my God, I forgot. Yeah. Why did I forget that weird friendship?
I didn't. So let's talk about these two, Aurora and Mulan specifically. Although I really do want to take the time to point out Prince Philip as well, because Prince Philip is played by Julian Morris. Julian Morris, famous. Did you recognize his face? For any of our New Girl fan friends, Julian Morris plays the English teacher.
Oh.
Gozinyu, Mr. Gozinyu.
Okay.
The like hot British new teacher who goes to school and Jess dates for a while. So that's Prince Philip. Let's see if he's done any other things, just real quick. New Girl was 2014 to 2015. Ryan Gozinyu. It's a hilarious joke. And Once Upon a Time was 2012 to 2018. So it would have been overlapping with his later Once Upon a Time stuff. Would have been New Girl. He was also in Pretty Little Liars as Ren Kingston. If anybody is a
Yes, he's Ren. That's where I recognized him from.
Yep. A couple episodes
sucks.
here and there. He was in 24 for a little while. He was Dr. Andrew Wade in 6 episodes of ER, and a couple other random things. A few movies here and there. Nothing particularly.
Looks like a Prince Philip.
He does. He's a very kind of classic,
very handsome guy.
He's from North
Dapper.
London. Very kind of. He was the son of a Zimbabwean teacher and a South African born accountant. That's what this says, which is such a fancy background. I'm like, you're born in London and then the son of a South African and Zimbabwean.
Be
just
yes,
that's
my
a
lady.
lot. Yeah, it's definitely a lot. But yeah, so that's Philip, and the two real standouts here are Mulan and Aurora. So Mulan is Jamie Chung. Jamie Chung, I don't know if you recognize this face. You might actually, because you're a reality show fan. What was that, Powerhouse?
Yeah. She's tough.
She is amazing. She is a fantastic actress who take a guess where she started from. I don't know if you can read this. Take a wild
No, I can't.
guess. She was born in San Francisco, native of California. Now, what do people who live in California try to do when they're getting into show business?
Waitress.
Accurate. However, reality TV is a
I see it. Okay.
pretty easy way.
I didn't actually ever watch any of
the
Real World.
She's a Real World veteran. She actually cold auditioned for the 14th season of Real World, and she was in Real World San Diego, and then participated in 2005. It was 2001. In 2005, was in one of the Real World Road Rules challenges. I don't know if you remember those. Holy crap, it was a long time ago.
That's what I know her from. I'm sorry, I know her from Princess Protection Program.
Yeah, she's been in a couple things.
Which is a Disney Channel original movie.
Hey, we love our DComs here. She was in I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. She was in a couple things of ER and CSI, which again you do when you're an LA actress and you're trying to just get into TV.
She's Go-Go in Big Hero 6.
She is in Big Hero 6. That's right. And
I didn't know that.
She also did the series, I think, too. Maybe. Could be wrong about that. But yeah, no, she's had quite a few. She was also in X-Men Destiny game. Yeah, she's kind of gotten around a little bit. Samurai Girl.
Her fiance is Brian Greenberg.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. That's not in this wiki.
Jagalski from One Tree Hill.
Get out of here. That's crazy. Look at that. We're finding all sorts of things. So Jamie Chung, who plays Mulan, amazing Korean American actress. Absolutely beautifully cast in this show, and really, I think, really does some justice to Mulan. Now, this storyline goes real squirrely.
Oh, I really
real
like
fast.
it.
No, it's not in a bad way. It's in a fantastic way. It's just, it is sudden, and it's in a way that you don't expect. And once you get settled in it, it feels very natural. And this is, I think, the time period in television where television's really starting to get a little bit loosey-goosey about how they present,
it's
diversity.
How the original Mulan should have ended anyway.
I mean, to a certain degree, you're not wrong. So yeah, I like the fact that this is the beginning of when this particular show, a lot of shows were doing it, but this show does really start to mix things up, and they become really unafraid to take real chances, like real risks that people could, and well, frankly, didn't always pay off because a lot of people didn't like it at all, and it shows. But we love it, and most people that I talk to who I know who do like the show as a whole.
If you're listening to the show, you probably like it.
I mean, yeah, it fulfills the soap opera checkbox, I believe, for how they're transforming fairy tale characters into the soap opera box. I think are appropriate choices. I know we're speaking really vaguely because we're trying not to spoil too much, and I feel like that would be a pretty big spoiler to kind of.
I think it would too. So you're welcome, Nicole.
Yeah, basically. And for everybody else who knows what I'm talking about, I feel like you would agree with me. I'm sure the Discord spoiler channel is going to blow up after this. Sarah Bolger. Sarah Bolger is who plays Aurora, and she's not super duper well known. She is Irish, native born of Dublin. The reason why I knew her face, and I was always trying to point it out and be like, why do I know her so well? Even while I was watching the show, I worked for a short time, for quite a bit of time, but a long time ago.
Is this going to be a flex?
I work. Yes, it is sort of. I worked for Showtime when I was living in New York, and she was in The Tudors, and like not a lot of people watched The Tudors. It was like the poor man's original Game of Thrones, right? It was like the sexy cable history show where everyone was just like having sex everywhere. There's a lot of nudity and a lot of gratuitous violence. And The Tudors famously is about King Henry VIII just beheading anybody he doesn't like. And basically also trying to find a wife so that he could have a son and a legacy. And so he's sleeping with all of England, basically. Who Sarah Bolger plays is Mary Tudor, Princess Mary Tudor, who is Henry VIII's daughter with Catherine, his first wife, who eventually, when he cannot have a son, becomes the Queen of England. Queen Mary, in fact, Queen Bloody Mary, which is where the drink Bloody Mary comes from, because most of her legacy. Thank you so much,
Queen Mary. I love those.
Most of Queen Bloody Mary's legacy is in her viciously murdering Protestants all over Europe, and that's why she became Bloody Mary. So Sarah Bolger plays Mary Tudor as the princess as a teenager.
So do you recognize her from editing all the cuts?
I did. So what we one of the things that we had to do, that my office had to do, was we were in charge of all of the promotional stuff. So when a season would come out, they would make us. It was really fun to get paid to just watch TV, but they would essentially have us watch the entire season, or at least the first few episodes. And we would have to watch them for fun, and it was cool. But then we had to watch them like 87 times. And it's mostly because we had to find and pull out every single individual little bite and little sound up and, visual element that we could be able to put in the promos, especially when there's like this summer coming to you in July and on Showtime, we'd have to put in Tudors and Weeds and the L Word and Californication and, Tracy Ullman Show. We'd have to like watch all of them and pull out the best stuff from each one. So we had to know these shows backwards and forwards. So part of our job was to like watch every second and really, really internalize them. So Tudors, Californication, Weeds, Dexter was my first set. And then United States of Terra and the L Word and some other ones were my second one. So I was really invested in Tudors. So, and very, very famously, one of the biggest standout actors to come out of the Tudors that now is a household name is Henry Cavill, who plays Superman that everybody's in love with in DC. That's what everybody knows him for. He started out in the big part of his career because he was Henry VIII's best friend in the Tudors. That's how he got famous. Huh. So like a lot of these people kind of start out in these bigger shows, and then they kind of end up going to do bigger things. So Sarah Bolger was a standout in that show. She's an amazing actress. She's really, really captivates the scenes that she's in. Aurora, the character, is written a little strange. It's a little bit weak because, the women in this show are written pretty well. And Aurora, it flip-flops a little bit, and there's some moments where she gets to redeem herself and stuff. But Sarah Bolger as an actress, it's going to be interesting to watch that journey as she takes it, the same way that we're doing with Guinea Good, to see what of it is writing, what is it that she's bringing to the script. And a lot, because there's going to be we're going to be following her pretty closely for basically all of season 2 and beyond. So just wanted to kind of point that out. We're going to meet a very important character, not in this episode, I don't believe, but coming up soon. We already saw in the promo that they're going to be introducing Captain Hook.
Colin O'Donoghue.
The actor who plays Captain Hook is Colin O'Donoghue. And the reason I bring that up is because Colin O'Donoghue is a co-star of Sarah Bolger's, also from the Tudors.
Really?
There as well. Yep. So what did he play? He was like a duke of some country and had to come in, but they worked at that time of the show. They were always working together. So it's kind of cool that we have a little bit of, and I wonder if there are some other crossovers from that show in particular. But yeah, we're very eagerly anticipating Colin O'Donoghue's appearance. I'm checking. It seems episode 4 is when we're going to meet him. So not too long until we have to wait. So those are the standout actors and actresses that we will be looking out for while we do this. And so now it's time to talk some specifics about the show and in our segment called Production Notes.
Production Notes.
So let's get through these. There's quite a few here, so we can start watching the show. So first off, can you see these okay? Is this?
Yep.
Okay. First off, we have the title card that we always talk about. This title card features, it says the Wraith, but it is a Wraith we're going to meet. It's going to become a central point of the plot of this particular episode.
A what?
A Wraith is kind of a spiritual, it's basically a zombie soul sort of thing in different cultures. So, but usually a Wraith is guarding something, right? So it's like this undead spirit that is usually some kind of soldier or some kind of thing that's keeping you from getting someplace in some kind of hero's journey, right? Like the siren in the lake, that would be considered
in Harry Potter.
No. The siren in What Happened to Frederick. but technically also the sirens in Harry Potter. Keeping
anything in Harry Potter. Actually.
Listen, that is a decent analogy too. But in What Happened to Frederick, that siren came out of the lake to like keep him from his hero's journey or whatever. That would technically be considered a Wraith. So we got some cast notes here as of this episode. So Megan, we talked about this before. Megan Ori and Emily DeRaven, who play Red and Belle. They are billed now starting in season 2, episode 1 as starring, which we talked about is usually like an agent's contractual thing. That means they're either getting paid more, they got kind of bumped up to starring. Basically means that they are a regular on the show. Even if they don't appear in this episode, they are considered a regular part of the main cast. Guest starring means that they are still on the show regularly, but are not a season regular, which means that they will not be in every episode. But it has more to do with a ranking of like essentially payment, right? Which usually equates to fame, but of like how big they are. But people in starring, agents really push for their clients to get into starring because it's a promotion. Raphael Sparge and Eon Bailey, they play Archie and August, respectively. They are both billed as guest starring, and I believe that they're pointing that out because I don't think that they were in the credits at all. I think they were just guests because they only appear, in the kind of, 1 or 2 or whatever in the background. Or if I'm mistaken, then they would just be. I know that Eon Bailey wasn't in the credits at all because he came in halfway through the season. So now he is a season guest, meaning that he will be popping in and out, and eventually could become a starring season regular. Okay. I'm sorry. It actually says that Raphael and Eon are billed as guest starring when they appear. So they wouldn't even appear in the credits unless they were in that episode, as opposed to starring, which will get, I'm pretty sure that season regulars get paid whether they're in the episode or not, because they're a part of the main show.
That would make sense to me.
Yeah. Observations. For the first time, the events in the Enchanted Forest occur after the events in Storybrooke, because in the Enchanted Forest, we're going to learn a little bit about how those lands are living parallel and not. We thought that Storybrooke was on top of the space where Enchanted Forest was, and now we're gonna have to figure out like how do those timelines work out, because Storybrooke will happen presently and Enchanted Forest stuff is gonna be like running in tandem. So technically it would be after what we see in Storybrooke or at the same time. We'll have to unpack that because the timeline's going to get real squirrely, and we're going to have some timeline chat. We're going to do a bonus SBC episode on Patreon, and then we're going to really break down the timeline in there and not waste time while we're trying to watch a show do that. But we do need to have like a separate conversation about timeline because that's a little tricky as to how they bounce back and forth. So if that kind of extra chat is something that you're interested in, then that's where you can find that. The season premiere of the second season was actually the second episode that was filmed for season 2. We Are Both, which is the second episode, was originally supposed to be the season premiere. So next week, when we watch episode 2, let's see if we can figure out if it would have worked if it was backwards.
Yeah.
Or if they kind of made any changes. Yeah. It happens pretty often. Occasionally they'll write kind of a grouping, especially if you have all summer off. You can write kind of a grouping of how you want the show to go, how you want the season to go. And every once in a while, somebody for some reason will do some flips because of scheduling or because they want some marketing thing to happen in line with sometimes that's just an executive decision. Or a showrunner who's kind of the head guy in charge of the creative of the show will come in and say, oh, actually, now that we think about it, I think that the flow will work better if we introduce this idea first and then follow it up instead of doing it the other way around. And that kind of just improves the storytelling. That's what showrunners are good for. And really good showrunners like Mike Shue, who does A Good Place in The Office and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, all those things. He is one of the best in the game because he's not afraid to do stuff like that and really make sure that the flow guides you instead of you just following along, that it actually brings you, you know what I mean? Like along the journey. Let's see. Episode frame used as a picture. What does that mean? A frame of Mother Superior from the scene where everyone is united was used as a photograph attached to a missing report in a season 4 episode, Darkness on the Edge of Town. That's going to be interesting to kind of, I'm not going to remember when we get to season 4. I hope in that episode they actually call this out so we can come back and see it. But I guess everyone, we should remember a frame of Mother Superior where everyone is reunited. We should remember that because apparently there was a photograph being used for something else. In an interview with TV Guide, Emily the Raven admitted that she accidentally bit Robert Carlyle's lip while filming Mr. Gold and Belle's kissing scene.
No, we didn't need to know that.
Why did she say? You said that in a public interview with TV Guide. Why did you say that?
Your guardian is going to read that and want to just shrivel up and go to nowhere.
That's awesome. Well, good on you, girl. I mean, if you're going to do it all the way, right?
Just keep that to yourself.
It does seem a little weird. I wonder what the context of how that came out of that interview, too. It's kind of strange.
What were you talking about to get there?
That she just popped that little factoid out.
By the way, decided to make it a little fun and just nibbled on his lip a little bit. Like,
sheesh. It's funny because Robert Carlyle spends most of his time trying to protect his co-stars from getting hurt during the scenes, if you've noticed.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Hidden details. Okay, so Mulan refers to the Wraith as Qi Shen. In the Chinese culture, qi being qi, as in Tai Chi, as in Qigong, right? Qi is literally the Chinese word for life force. So qi it's an active principle forming part of any living thing. It's kind of what we call soul, like your actual, and not the thing that like comes out of your body and goes to heaven. It's the actual force in your life that makes you alive and living, your consciousness, I suppose. Shen is a key word in Chinese philosophy and religion that means spirit. So Qi Shen would be a life spirit, a living spirit. So I guess that kind of makes a little bit more literal sense with a wraith, that it would be the undead, right? But that kind of Qi thing is a very, like where yin yang comes from. Like Tai Chi is literally the forming of the positive and negative forces in life and the balance between them. And it's an act of trying to bring that balance into your body with movement and breathing and stuff. There's a lot of that kind of stuff in Chinese philosophy. So it's actually cool that we're introducing a Chinese, I know it's Mulan, it's fairy tale character, but we're introducing an Eastern philosophical idea to these fairy tales that are, because the fairy tales come from like kind of all over, right? Germany and some in America and some whatever. So now we're going to start to get kind of more Eastern influence.
Very cool. Yeah.
Which is kind of, it's kind of a really interesting way to tell the story. For the scene where Mary Margaret uses a lighter and a spray can to burn the wraith. Jeez. Spoilers.
Okay, Mary Margaret.
The flames were CGI and not real fire is all they're trying to tell us, that she didn't make a real fireball with a lighter spray can. Interesting.
I'm sorry,
idea.
was this Mary Margaret?
Yes.
She's too much of a klutz. They literally were like, you know what? We're not going to take any risks on this.
You think the character Mary Margaret or actual
Guinea Good?
Or like Guinea Good is too klutzy.
How many times has she injured herself?
That's true. I mean, to be fair, she was doing like stunts with boats and stuff. And like,
are we going to test those waters with fire?
I think they would have done that for anybody. Just because fire is real dangerous on set because it's a little bit unpredictable and depending on how big the scene is.
But wait, what was it? Last week's episode or the week before, where they let one of the dwarves shoot off the fire stick.
That's true.
So
he shot a real
they clearly
arrow.
Are not in fear of the pyro.
You're right.
They are discriminating.
We're like making drama where there isn't any. We're like, oh,
that'd be like if I showed up on set and I'd be like, I want to do all my own stunts. They'd be like, Isla,
cute, but no.
That's a great idea. We're not going to do it, but that's a great idea.
I love where your head's at.
That energy, use
love that. Keep that.
Put it over there.
Let's see. Mary Margaret holding on to... Okay. I don't think this is a spoiler because there's no context here, because I read this and I was like, should I read this one? But we talk about this a lot. We talk about actors and actresses influencing the character's nuance, right? And sometimes actually influencing the way that they would behave completely. Not just a little twitch or something, but, Emma, wearing the boots, the shoelaces of Graham on her wrist, like all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So Mary Margaret holding on to Emma in the final shot of the episode because she won't let go of her daughter again. Now, we don't know what the context of that is, so we'll see, whatever. But it was Ginny's idea. It was her idea to kind of do this.
Wow.
Isn't action at all. And I like
very
that
maternal moment.
The reasoning because she won't let go of her daughter again is a very like character centric, like Mary Margaret wouldn't do this or Snow wouldn't do this. So like I like it doesn't always come from the director. Sometimes the actors, actresses kind of, and real good directors kind of want to, their job is to facilitate that thought process out of an actor and actress. It's not their job to tell the actor actress how to personify something. It's their job to create an environment where the actor actress can tell the director what they think should happen, and the director kind of coordinates that with everyone else.
Yes.
Or a good director would do that. So kind of cool. And I love, I there's no real way to track it. I mean, for us, just because there's too much data, but it'd be interesting to track like when those things happen. Like, are we going to see Ralph Hemmicker again and then notice that this was a time where an actor
this
or actress,
happens again.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are certain directors kind of leaning themselves towards that kind of relationship with the actors or actresses? Would be interesting. We'll just have to get Ginny and Jennifer Morrison in here, and we'll have to ask them.
I'm sure they have the time.
Of course, obviously, and they love us because we're amazing.
Yeah.
Hidden details: the symbol on one side of the Wraith's amulet, which is branded onto the victim's hand, is one of several alchemy symbols for the chemical element arsenic, which is a deadly poison that's been historically used to kill people. Interestingly, arsenic was sometimes represented by the image of a swan. Of all of the alchemy symbols to use, I like that they would use one that will lead back to an Easter egg. I don't know if that's coincidence or not, but still interesting that it does track, you know? You always wonder, like, arsenic is a pretty obvious poison, you know? Like, it's widely used in media a lot, so it wouldn't be that far of a stretch, but the fact that it's specifically arsenic and not bleach or some other random thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of I'm like, is that a coincidence? Because it certainly doesn't sound like one. Use it again. We love our use it again. So that when they reuse props or entire sets sometimes. So in the season 1 episode Skin Deep, the evil queen makes a surprise visit to Rumpelstiltskin after Belle is banished from the castle. Do you remember that? It's in Rumpelstiltskin's room, and there's that long table. And on the table is a tea set that has 2 cups. And we talked in that episode about how the second cut, remember Skin Deep is the one where they cut a lot of stuff in between out because they had to shorten the episode.
Oh my
down.
gosh, we were so excited about it. And then we were like, this is...
Yeah, and it flopped because
subpar.
They had to chop it up so much that it really kind of messed it up.
I do.
Well, we talked about the fact that those 2 cups on the table were supposed to be Rumpel waiting for Belle to come back, and she never did. And then the evil queen lied and said Belle killed herself or whatever, and then he was devastated. Well, in this episode today, Mr. Gold and Belle, you know, are reunited. We already kind of saw that at the end of the episode, at the end of the season. One of the things that he does after he's settled in her new clothes is to use the exact same tea set to make tea for the 2 of them, which is super cute, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is one of the teacups is the one that she chipped. So I think it's supposed to be chipped from Belle and the Beast.
Hate him completely.
It's really, and there's going to be a lot of moments like that we're going to find between Rumpel and Belle that are just like, they're so hard to hate because they're so cute.
I'm thinking about that one episode.
There's a couple for me. I can pull out right off the top of my head that are like really heartbreaking because it's so toxic. Like 100% it is too, and it's hard to like feel
Rumpel
the way you
and
feel
Belle are the Sam and Ronnie.
Sam and Ronnie
Once
from
upon
what?
a time, Jersey Shore.
I think some other people would agree with you on that. Oh man, toxic, but you know, meant to be somehow. Like I don't know. But yeah, I like the fact that that in Storybrooke, which I'm assuming this takes place in Storybrooke, that we've already seen artifacts travel from the Enchanted Forest to Mystical the Pawn Shop. We've seen the puppets, we've seen, the hat box, we've seen quite a few things. So the fact that he would still have the same 2 cups in Storybrooke, which I don't know if we've seen or not yet, but that they would be there and that he would replicate that moment that they lost is just...
I'm just picturing him like seeing Belle and like, everything's coming back and he's like, gotta go to the shop.
Yeah.
Rummaging through all of his shit and he's like, good as new. Let's put him out.
Good as new. So this section here, is Isla's favorite section. It is a subsection of production notes, and it's called brand info. This is when we talk about the brands used in my elevator voice. So first off, the wallpaper in the interior of the town hall is birch trees from Echo Chic. It's EH61007 by WallQuest. It is the wallpaper that Regina makes come to life in Trap David. That's going to be exciting. The New York apartment we're going to see a New York apartment, right? It has a framed aesthetic apparatus poster called Control and Capital, containing the image of a red hand, which was created for the Communication Arts magazine in 2008. The May-June issue. Next to the sign Cleaners and Hatters on the wall, an aesthetic apparatus bike ride poster is also hanging. In addition, Mary Margaret is wearing a Club Monaco Veda scarf over a Club Monaco Gloria top. Both are no longer available. She continues to wear this outfit until she and Emma return to Storybrooke in a future episode called Queen of Hearts. According to the costume designer Eduardo Castro, Mary Margaret's outfit in the first 9 episodes of Season 2 is meant to have a 1960s vibe and is inspired by Audrey Hepburn of the 1957 musical romantic comedy Funny Face. The same top was worn by Amelia Richardson on the Supernatural episode Blood Brother. We have a whole show crossover here. Heck yeah. All of our YouTubers are enjoying Isla's interpretive dance of this elevator music right now, and it's fantastic. Let me tell you, if you want to see this, go head over to YouTube because it's really good. Moving right along, Canadian-based fine headwear maker Kelly Dunlap, also known as the Saucy Milliner, created several duplicates of Jefferson's hat, which were also used for filming this episode. And last but not least, after Belle changes out of her hospital gown, she dons a Thaskin's Theory Dee Dee tweed dress that is also, you guessed it, no longer available. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our brand info. This is the weirdest segment that we do. It makes no sense whatsoever. And it's so much stuff that we should have skipped. But at some point we decided that it was just a soothing part of, it was kind of our break, like a little relaxing brand info section. In case you're interested. Part. That's really Isla's favorite part of the entire show. So we have to do it. Oh, God. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. On set, Josh Dallas, our homeboy, he filmed the broom fire torch scene using a pre-burned broom. Each broom was treated with a special burn-proof product so that the flames would not scorch the entire broom once it was lit. Which is kind of cool. It's interesting. I mean, you got to think when you destroy stuff on set, right? Especially with fire, like fire's degenerative, so it like continues to burn through things. Right. You have to do more takes. You don't just use more brooms. But speaking of which, would you like to take a guess? I don't know if you can see that. How many brooms were used for shooting the scene?
8.
35 brooms.
Oh, wow.
30, at least, it says at least 35 brooms. So that must have been an action-packed segment.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Pretty crazy. Something changed. We've actually, this is the payoff to a something's changed that we've done before. We talked about the window outside the entrance to the Mary Margaret Blanchard's loft, the Blanchard loft, they call it. It was replaced several times in season 1, right? So in The Thing You Love Most, episode 2, I think, the window's like a regular, clear, single pane window. In The Price of Gold, it's divided into a 4-pane window. And then in The Return, which we just watched recently a few weeks ago, it's replaced by a like legitimate glass stained window.
Right. It's like a stained glass window, right?
In this episode, they swap the glass stained window out. So it's still a glass stained window, but it's a different glass stain. which is interesting that like stuff like that. I wonder too if it's minor enough. Like I wonder if like the production designer who would be in charge of like the set itself is just like, no, I'm not feeling it. I don't like it. We need to be, and they just like make the change. And I wonder if anyone even notices. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's the production designer's kind of gig. Like it's their, I mean, I guess they would have to get the director's or somebody's approval at some point, but I wonder if it's just a thing where like a set guy was just like not happy and was like, no, one pane is not right. It needs to be 4 panes. You know what? It doesn't need to be 4 panes. It should be glass. And like, wow, why are we really getting in the weeds on the like type
about
of window?
About this one window.
It's so weird.
In the Blanchard loft.
The Blanchard loft. It's so bougie. Hidden details. Here we got the mysterious man. We're introduced to a mysterious man, which is actually credited in the show as Mysterious Man. I believe we don't find out who he is until maybe a couple episodes. I don't even think it's the next episode. I think it might be a couple. This actually gives away a little bit, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to say something we should point out. The Mysterious Man is dressed like Mr. Gold. It's just a suit, shirt, and tie, and like it's not a happenstance suit, shirt, and tie. It's supposed to be like a nod to Mr. Gold. So we'll see that coming up soon. The weather apparently was very cold during the finale of the first season, May in British Columbia. This episode picks up where the previous episode left off, but obviously is being filmed in probably August or beginning of September. It was shot during a much warmer period. So Mary Margaret apparently loses her coat real quick at the beginning of this episode. I want to see if we can pull that out. If we can, because I'm sure
it's the adrenaline. It's just too hot, you know.
Like, for the continuity reasons, they would have to have her start with it, but it's going to be funny to just watch that transition of it being broken. She's just gonna all of a sudden it's so warm out here.
Oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, just like I can't take it. And the last one. We're going to go to New York. We're going to see an apartment in New York. So we're actually going to see
New York.
A new city.
Waiting for you.
We love Isla singing.
Something exists outside of Storybrooke and Boston, Massachusetts. Incredible. And not even New England anymore.
Yeah.
We're really
like
branching out here.
But the entrance of the apartment we're going to see is a real address, and it is 161 Mulberry Street, which, if I'm not mistaken, is in the south side of the island of Manhattan, if I have my geography correct.
Listen, you're the native here.
I'm pretty sure Mulberry is southeast. I should have done the work to look this up to see where it was, but I think that exactly
while
zero
you're doing
people
so,
care.
We can sing an ode to Cornelia Street. I'll never walk Cornelia Street again.
161 Mulberry Street is in Little Italy. Why isn't this mapped out? Show me the map, stupid. Those little villages get confusing. Little Italy. Hello, hi. Little Italy, Chinatown, they're all kind of in the same general area. It is south, but it's not super west. It is basically adjacent to Soho. So it's dead center in the south third of the island of Manhattan. So pretty much right along, like if you take the Williamsburg Bridge into the city, so there's like the Brooklyn Bridge on the very bottom, and then the Manhattan Bridge, and then the Williamsburg Bridge, and then the Queensboro Bridge. The Williamsburg Bridge is the one that no one knows. The Brooklyn Bridge is very famous. The Manhattan Bridge is next to it, so that's easy to find. And then there's like a random bridge in the middle, which is like a weird version of the Manhattan Bridge. And then the Queensboro Bridge is the next famous one that's up there. The weird one in the middle is the Williamsburg Bridge that no one really uses. And it leaves you in this weird spot.
How dare you forget about the bridge that I have to drive on every single time I go through New York City?
Is that one?
The George Washington.
Oh, the George Washington Bridge. Well, that's the other side. So that's the west side. These are all the east side bridges.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were all on one.
Yeah, so
side,
that's the way you get from the mainland of Jersey and Pennsylvania and all that stuff. Like get from.
It is quite literally the only way to get from New England to Jersey.
Yeah. So so that's crossing over
unless
into
you row.
So the entire of New York City is on the water. So Manhattan, Brooklyn, they're all like on Long Island.
I will never ever in my life believe that it's an island. I don't care how many maps you show me.
It's just really big. It's crazy.
It's not an island. Nope.
So it's not really connected to anything. So from the top, if you're coming from, Connecticut, basically, you've got a lot of good singers in today. If you're coming from the top, you end up hitting the Bronx, right? And then between the Bronx and Manhattan is water and bridges, and then between the Bronx and Queens is all water and bridges, and the entire of Long Island is just floating. And the edge,
like every time somebody's like, "Oh, the island," I'm like,
it's just so huge. It's basically bigger than some of the states up there. Like it's bigger than Rhode Island, I'm pretty sure.
Everything is bigger than Rhode Island.
That's what I mean. But like just Long Island is like way out. And like when you get out to Montauk and stuff, you're basically in the easternmost part of Connecticut. And so how is that connected to New York City, which is like all the way over here? It's really weird.
That's not even really, that's like.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Dave Portnoy, like Barstool Sports.
Right, exactly.
Hangout center.
But Staten Island and then Manhattan and essentially Brooklyn and Queens are all kind of just floating there, And so
I think the only thing I don't like about how they connect cities and stuff in Once Upon a Time is that it's always the only major cities anybody's ever heard of. Like, why can't we shed some light on something else?
Because they're not interesting, and they're not going to catch anybody's ear or eye who isn't from New England.
Yeah, it's like such like a click. Like, oh, they're going to New York.
It's like New York and then Boston, and everything else is the suburbs. Even though there's entire states of Vermont, New Hampshire, Mass, Rhode Island. There's all these big states up there. But like, if it's not New York City or Hartford, Connecticut, or Boston, it's just Maine. And the other direction is New York State, which nobody cares about, except until you go all the way to Buffalo, and that's basically Canada. And then but everything, there's tons in between, and
it's just so crazy that they're like, we're in Maine,
right?
We're in Boston.
Yeah, and they're in
going to New York.
Bar Harbor is what we decided was the closest thing to around where they would be, which is super, super far from. It's actually closer to Canada really than it is to Portland. Like Portland is the biggest kind of well-known city in Maine, and it's definitely closer to New Brunswick in Nova Scotia, Canada, than it is to the biggest metropolitan city in Maine.
It's like they picked Maine because I guess it's miserable.
Which is so sad. It's just gray, I guess, too. It's just like kind of, it's so far north that it's very like, it feels like, what is it, Pleasantville? Just everything feels gray and black and white and kind of like, I don't know. It's strange,
but not because
it's not. Like, no, it's beautiful up there.
Hillbillies, like red. Oh,
it's beautiful because it's flat and nothing's there. That's kind of what the point was.
If you are totally into the disconnecting, getting off the grid, hanging out in the woods, Maine is your jam.
That's a good description of it, I think. Yeah. And there are quite a few places in the country that are like that, and Maine is definitely the East Coast version. Because everything else is coastal, is gorgeous. North Carolina, Charleston,
Maine
South Carolina.
Is the Forks, Washington of the East Coast.
Exactly. And I think, it being that far north too, I think,
which is funny because if we all remember what happens in the last season, where do they go?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Washington.
That's a good point.
I don't think that's a big spoiler. I think
that's a good point. So now that we have production notes out of the way.
Production notes.
Woohoo.
Now that I got you so off track, we are not even going to be able to watch the show.
But track, this is what the show is the whole show is off track. That's kind of the fun of the show.
I hope you guys wanted a long show for the season 2 opener because
we're at 2:30 right now. I mean, listen, you guys kept saying I want longer episodes and we kept, I don't know. I mean, look, here we are. I mean, the one that we had, I don't remember why the one that we had in season 1 went so long, but like this had a lot of stuff to go through because it's a season premiere. We had a lot of stuff to recap.
I think this is the first time I feel self-conscious though, where I'm like, am I talking too much?
No. You know what? I don't ever want to. We finally have a vehicle where there is no talking too much because the people, and if we had checked with people before now, I would be nervous. But the amount of times we've checked and always gotten positive responses, even when we checked to see if people wanted or didn't want spoilers, we at least got 1 or 2 people who were like, I want spoiler free. Every time we've asked about long episodes and whether we ramble, we've not gotten a single negative response yet so far. I'm just saying.
This is the first time where I'm like,
you guys asked for this. I think everything we've talked about has been fun. So
I'm having a blast.
I hope you guys are having fun. Please don't stop listening just because of this episode. The future ones will probably be shorter, but it's okay.
I will get my shit together for next week, guys. Okay,
people are gonna be like, no, don't have your shit together. That's why
they're like, Isla is unemployed and she is off the rails.
Oh God. Okay. So what we're going to talk about is, I have something prepared for this. In full transparency, I actually found something I want to read because I want to start doing it this way. This is my new intro to this. You ready?
Yes.
Prior to their work on Once Upon a Time, show creators Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz served as writers and executive producers on our very own ABC's Lost. Once Upon a Time, correspondingly Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, which we don't care about right now, are filled with Easter eggs and references to the show creators' old show, and many actors on the shows also appeared on Lost, which you already know about. But this section, where we are going to talk about the Easter eggs for Lost, is called What's in the Hatch? So let's talk about some of the Easter eggs. I have a whole intro prepared for this one.
That was great.
Thank you.
That was.
I didn't write it. Wikipedia wrote it, but I found it. And
I
now
don't have
I
cool
to.
sound effects, but here we go.
I'll do it for you, I guess.
Thank you.
I didn't just clap for myself. Isla made me do it.
Just know that I pressed the button.
Yeah, she did. All right. So number one, mysterious man. Credit. The mysterious man holds his iPod while struggling to close his apartment window. What happened? What I miss? What'd I do?
He's using an iPod.
Yeah. I mean, this was 2012. That would have been way after the iPhone. Why does he have an iPod? That's weird.
But no, it's very new still.
Is it? 2012? Yep. I don't know.
Yeah, I was a junior in high school. Bart just got like his first like iPhone 3 or 4 or something.
It's so strange to talk about that stuff in today's day and age, to just be like, he has an iPod, and you're me like, ugh. I wonder if that's how how like we felt talking to our parents when they were like, we used to use a phone, we used to have to go all the way around. Like, we're like, ugh, that's awful. Like, you used to have a phone with a cord? That's so stupid,
You used to
Mom.
have to have, but like, just, I'm doing it again, God. People had a phone. And they had to have an iPod.
Oh, like two seperate things. No, you're right.
You're like a drug dealer.
Yeah,
like
you had all these.
to have 2 different devices.
That's true. It's a good point. Mysterious man holds his iPod while struggling to close the apartment window. The back of the device's case is shown to have a Geronimo Jackson logo.
Oh.
Of course, on Lost, Geronimo Jackson is one of their main fictional bands, besides our true loves.
Drive Shaft was shafted again.
Shafted Again should be the name of their next album. Shafted Again. The Storybook Clock Tower. It shows 8:15, which is 2 of the Lost numbers, because in the end of the last episode, we got all the way back around to 8:15, ironically, when the clock started, when Emma got there, and the curse, I guess they're trying to tell us the curse broke at exactly 8:15. Either way, when it hit 8:15, it stopped. So they're going to show us that again. The illustration of the clock tower on the postcard that the mysterious man receives shows the same time, shows 8:15 on it. So he's probably going to get like a welcome to Storybook kind of thing, and the clock tower is probably on it, and it would be 8:15 that would be on it. Which would make sense because everybody in the town has stuck with the story that the clock has been stuck like that the whole time that they've been there. Like, so like that's
right.
Part of the town's thing, is that this broken clock is up there. It's always 8:15. So why wouldn't the postcard also say that?
Yep.
The last What's in the Hatch is that Mary Margaret uses a bottle of alcohol to set fire to some railings or whatever. And it is a fictional brand specific to Lost, McCutcheon Scotch whiskey. We love McCutcheon.
Yeah.
Love McCutcheon whiskey. And I personally, in real life, I am a bourbon and whiskey fan. So McCutcheon is something that I'm like, I would love for someone to really, I'm sure. Did someone make this in real life? They had to have,
I'm
right?
sure it was like there had to be some sort
something.
Of marketing,
something. I mean, surely, or someone. I mean, the amount of fan base that the show has, someone had to have made some whiskey in their bathtub and called it McCutcheon Scotch. Something.
Yep,
you know?
Absolutely.
Well, McCutcheon,
or like a sticker that you could put on, like Etsy. Somebody probably sells it on Etsy, you know, because they make like "Will You Be My Bridesmaid" wine labels.
Oh my God.
They probably have like a whiskey label that does it, which would be really kind of cool.
Can I have a quick aside, real quick? In the mid to late 90s. My mom, this is pre-Etsy, of course. My mom, I don't know where she got this idea from. She found it somewhere. We used to make, and I used to help her make bridal shower Crunch bars. So I used to take the wrappers off of Crunch bars and remake the wrapper, right, with their names on the front. And then on the back, where all the nutritional facts are, it was like made with love and baby eyelashes and like all these like weird baby things as the nutrition facts. And then like all the ingredients would be stuff, and then on the front was like their bridal shower, like the name of the girl, and then like, or like baby showers.
Oh my gosh,
My mom was big on, she used to sew. She was a model like way before I was born, and then stayed in fashion and stuff. So she used to sew her own like full dresses and full outfits and things. And so she was very like arts and craftsy. So yeah, I have a vivid memory that you mentioned that of like making things like that, like wrappers for bottles and wrappers for candy. Oh my gosh. And we would bring them to parties and stuff. And that was like,
how cool.
My mom was like the crafty one who like brought that kind of stuff to parties all the time. So surely someone made a McCutcheon label, right? To put on something. Somebody find that for me so that we can have a McCutcheon Scotch whiskey party. Oh God. So now it's watch the show time, which unfortunately we will not be able to do in this current recording. Okay, I keep saying that. We're going to do it for you in the next 30 seconds. But in real life, we have to take another pause. The first time ever in our recording history that we have had to pause twice before getting a show out.
3 parts.
I would like to take this opportunity to just remind everyone that I have already previously, at the time that this show airs, apologized to all of you on Discord for taking too long to release this episode. So I'm going to take this opportunity to say sorry again, because this is why. Because I have to go.
We love you.
I am literally going to run out the door and go play drums at Disney Springs, and I will not be back until late. So we're going to pick this up again tomorrow and watch the show, and hopefully we'll finally get this episode out by... We took 3 days to put out this episode. Wowza. I guess
all right, guys, see you in 2 seconds when we start the show.
Like later, or should we talk about it now and then just roll in?
Okay, yeah.
So we have some features of our watch party happening right now, soon. Not right now, really. Where while we watch the show, we would like you to follow along, and if you feel so inclined, you can play a drinking game that we have. We play a bell. Sounds like that. And so you heard in some of the Storybook Daily Mirror that we have certain rules, and some of them we just added. Leroy saying sister, and like some other things, magic, apples, so on and so forth. If you hear the spell, then
so when these things come up, you raise a glass to not only freedom, but to drink.
Something we can never take away. I love it. Water, apple juice, alcoholic beverage of your choice, whatever you want. Raise a glass, as Isla said. To
today it's coffee. When we actually watch the show, I'm not sure what it'll be.
Yeah, we don't know because it's not today.
Now.
We also have this, a little drink clink. It is, like a cheers. You knock your bottles together, your cups together. This is when we are referencing something that we've talked about in our production notes, or not what's Natch, but like anything that we've talked about previously, something in the Storybook Daily Mirror or something like that. Just a little nod that isn't necessarily part of the drinking game, but we wanted to stop and recognize. And then, if you happen to hear this sound, that is the sound of me playing and pausing the episode. In case you happen to be watching along with me, you will know when I've pushed the button so that we can rant about something. So that is the sound of us starting and stopping so that you can follow along. And just in case we have to review something and watch it on, say, instant replay,
it's rewind time.
we have our very best friend of the show, Mr. William Smith. Let us know that it's rewind time, which you heard earlier in the episode. I said I would explain later. Well, that is the explanation. He prompts us to rewind, claiming that it's rewind time so that we can, I don't know, review something again or check a detail or whatever. That way you'll know.
We might have stopped at a really weird point where we just need to like regroup.
Or talk over people talking and we didn't hear things.
Yeah, and that's rewind time.
And when we are watching the episode, we have one big giant drink moment, one thing where we always stop the show and celebrate, and that is the reference to the episode title, which in this case is Broken. And I don't even have listed who said this, but someone said the curse. It's broken. That sounds like a charming kind of line to me. Or maybe Belle.
Let's place bets.
Oh my God.
Is it going to be Mary Margaret or David?
Or Belle. I think Belle would be one of those. She's always like, what's going on? She's always like trying to figure out what's happening.
All right. So those are the 3. I'm going to vote Mary Margaret.
I'll say the curse. Okay, you're right. It's probably not Belle because she's watching magic smoke billow out of the friggin' well right now. I'm going to say David.
Okay.
Who is now Prince Charming. They're actually so.
All right, so everyone listening right now, lock in your vote.
Lock in your vote right now.
And then find out if you were right.
All right. So now, not now, but actually now for you, we will watch season 2, episode 1 after 2 hours and 40 something minutes. Broken.